Recording in progress.
Oh, boy.
There we go.
Well, I don't know if you're around when I was talking last week or not. I have a 3.6 DC motor.
Oh, right.
In this motor controller 2100 works fine with me. And I also have a smaller motor in a different controller. Now, I found the schematic for this one. I cannot find the schematic for this one. And the people on the, kindly on the YouTube last time said, bring it down.
Sometimes look at it.
Yep. And
I do kind of recall that at the end of the meeting.
yeah. So,
He seemed a little excited about getting a look at it. He didn't know what it was.
Vicente does a lot of reverse engineering and stuff. So.
that is a power with
You look like you mentioned your heat sink through SDR.
yes, it is. But I'm taking a shortcut for the motor. Here's our load. Yeah, and I figured that we can judge how much is going to be necessary to limit the power by looking at that. I don't know why I don't have the heat sink on that. I suspect that I picked it up out of the trash and that the heat sink was part of the other part of the carcass. And that was,
It's scrapping.
yeah,
Because the aluminum is worth $50.
Those motors, if it's the motor that came out of that treadmill, those things are like $300.
Yeah.
Those things freaking expensive.
You will never guess what I saw today. So while chatting with one of the guys I work with, he printed out a really cool like RAM tray with his new 3D printer. And I go, that looks pretty slick. But he said he was going to print another one for DDR3, but he wasn't sure why because he didn't have any use for DDR3 anymore. Which I thought was kind of sad because all my computers take DDR3 and I only have one that takes DDR4. But then I got to joking around with him about RAM and old RAM, and I was like, I have an entire drawer of like DIMM, 128 meg or 32 meg DIMMs and all that kind of stuff. That stuff's $10 a chip now.
it's what?
$10 a chip on eBay now for the lowest. I was like, shit, I probably have enough in this drawer to buy a real computer.
I think it was probably a year and a half ago, I had a big Ziploc bag of all that I brought down because I didn't have anything to fit in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and nobody wanted it.
Yeah, and now these people that want to restore vintage computers are like paying big bucks to rebuild these old computers.
That stuff takes swings because
Yeah,
When
well,
I
I
had-
would believe it because there was a lot of them that were like marked $20 or $30 a chip.
yeah, when we
You
had
can set it for whatever you want, but what it sells for is two different stories. But
when we had the shop and I took a bunch of those down because I had a bunch of old machines and of course we wanted the gold because the processors were gold. But I took a bunch of the DIMMs and SIMs and just oddball memory down to the recycler. And
yeah,
he paid an insane amount of money for that stuff.
yeah, well,
And he said he was turning around and selling it to,
on eBay and stuff and making bank
Yeah.
off it, probably.
and I'm like,
I've never been a big eBay person, but I was like, for that kind of money, it's worth throwing up there, and if they don't move, they don't move, but I mean, versus sitting in the drawer for the last 25 years.
You know, when,
It's like a buck to mail them, so what do you do?
I'm sitting, well, I was sitting on a fortune for Raspberry Pis. I mean, I have
Oh, yeah, when they were like,
like, you know, like $700-800 worth of Raspberry Pis just sitting there not doing anything.
you know,
That,
and they went up to like 200 bucks a pop in the last 2
yeah,
years.
and now of course they're back being reasonable because
Yeah,
I waited too long to sell them.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there was that big of a run on Raspberry Pis. I'm like, you can start dropping $200 or $300 on a Raspberry Pi 4. It's like, why the frack, you need to go buy a Nook computer or something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was near the end of the pandemic and everything. Everybody was like, why would you spend that much
Yeah,
on this? And the only thing that I can think of is GPIO. I mean, that's really the only advantage that the
Yeah.
Pis have.
well, everybody was home tinkering and learning that kind of stuff because they couldn't go anywhere, and you know, and people were, I guess, paying it. 'Cause, man, there was one dude on there that was selling for,
Well, I was sitting on a small fortune, huh?
yeah,
I could have, I could have easily bought a real computer.
who'd gone in and bought out Micro Center and bought everything they had and then
Are
put them
we-
up on eBay for
Are we being broadcasted?
probably.
Mute it for a second.
Maybe.
Yeah. There's a mute button.
Hang on. So we're back.
Okay. We just thought it would be appropriate.
Yeah, yep. Well, you know, a lot of my Raspberry Pis are Raspberry Pi 2s.
Yeah.
Which were a little bit cheaper, but still
Well,
bring
yeah,
like,
we still
like
think you've got, yeah, I
120.
said you probably got a couple hundred or $100 or something, easy just because people want to tinker with
Yeah.
them. I never
I've got-
understood why there was such a shortage,
I
other than the fact
think-
that there was a big run on that kind of stuff, that people were home and spending money and wanted to
I-
learn how to tinker.
I think I've got 3 Raspberry Pi 4s, and those things were so hard to find at that point. I wasn't even willing to consider getting rid of what I had.
Well, that's, I mean, when I started looking at Fords and I saw the price, I was like, what the hell happened to $30 Raspberry Pis?
Well, even now, I mean, the cheapest, the one with 2 gig RAM, which was the base model,
Yeah,
it's like $45 now. I mean,
look at it, making them.
Well, I remember, coming down and it was, March 14th. And he said, oh, it's Pi Day. And I asked somebody to pick me up with him because I didn't have any cash. And he loaned them the cash and they brought it in the next day. So $3.14. How did it get to be $45?
Yeah.
Okay, you wanna look this
Well,
over just to make certain I'm not doing anything stupid? Okay,
I won't guarantee that I.
well, I'll explain. There's my
Yeah,
110. I come down here and that's the safety switch.
right.
Okay. Over here is a 15 amp breaker.
What was that?
Then each of these has fuses in it. I don't know whether they're worth it or not.
Yeah.
Okay,
Looks like there might be more than one.
now, It'll be a neutral. So this is the input. And if I'm doing this correctly, I'm gonna put that in there. And for this. Okay. This is a flame retardant Kevlar. So if you burn anything up, you just yank it off the table.
This is the one that we know about.
This is the one we know about, and that's the AC motor.
You worried about it exploding there?
Hey, old capacitor.
Well, there's some fix that.
I do not know whether this is currently on or off.
We'll let the new guy turn it.
No. You guys might have sit back.
I'll put my face right there.
Well, I wanna see the flash.
Here, let me
bang.
see.
Well, I'm gonna say,
I wanna see the flashy bang.
Yeah.
I haven't had a flashy bang go off
It-
in my face for 30 years.
what you got looks right. As long as all the components are working the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, and I'm looking at header 2. The pin 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the pulse width modulation input. And this is set to proper frequency of 20 hertz. And then the
So
duty cycle is,
Turn it up and down, yeah.
and it should be set to go. You were talking about,
Okay, we ready?
I guess so.
Ready as we'll ever be. Very. Okay, we're live or something.
Maybe, maybe we are.
Well, we got power to somewhere. We just don't know where we're doing it.
Did anybody turn the switch on?
We don't know if the bulb is on or off. And in theory, we should be seeing something.
We got a voltmeter, you see what your black and white things, power is making it to the board or not.
AC. Not DC.
Well, I was gonna test this
Oh.
first, but at your request. I'm seeing nothing.
Okay, so there's some issue with.
So,
Might be your
switch,
your kill switch.
well, that's, it's just a pin on a normally. Okay. So let me work backwards for a second.
It's hot. Supposedly.
Somewhere.
120.8. Zero.
Put it on the other, put it on that.
0.
Okay, well, I would suspect that that is bad though.
And that's easy enough to get rid of.
It's.
Yeah, I know.
You're
I
just
know what it
making
is,
sure.
You know what it is.
He wants to check a third
You
time.
just want to make sure.
I understand.
I was working with the electric construction people.
I got playing flames with 480 and stuff. I'm like, yeah, triple that like that.
And he was looking at and complaining about the power supply to the new electro-galvanized one. He's bitching, they didn't tighten anything up, they did this loose. And all the time he's below the disconnect. And I'm from here to that corner, and I can see his eyes go up. And he's got the socket and the extension, and before I can do anything, he jams it in there, and his hands are up here. And that's the only thing that kept him from getting the flashbang. Because it took a big bite out of the side of the cabinet and a big bite out of the extension.
I got a screwdriver that had $20,000 in it. And we won by so about half of it's gone about right there.
I am just gonna touch this to the heat sink. I know that's not a good idea, but I don't see any other attachment.
For the ground.
Around.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It's live.
And we got a color LED on the board.
Well, that's a start. Yeah, the bulb probably was on.
Yeah, it was probably didn't turn it on.
The bulb probably was on to start with.
And this has got a soft start as part of the circuit, so.
Well,
And no, it's not about 200 volts.
Well, it's not supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm not seeing anything now.
It's a really wonderful day. One person's been there for 16 years, another one's been there for 2, and there's 3 birthdays today. Let's being us all to pieces all day long, announcing 1 or 2 after the other, after the other, after the other.
Still see it.
You're going to kill us for a second while we're
Yeah.
while we're troubleshooting. While we're looking to see what might actually be going on.
No, we're looking at the pulse width modulator upside down, and I think it's really stupid. The DN and the UP. If you look at them upside down, they say DN and UP.
Put the meter in. There's your ground.
I can't reach it over there, and it doesn't have a spade turn on it. You know, we can move.
Oh, okay. Yes, yeah, it's.
Am I counting from the right side, you think?
Well, we'll do about that.
I would say yes. Well, there's still on the same ground. Two sides of the same.
More of each one, the one of each one.
Yeah, so even 4 boxes makes it real fun to figure out. It's going using all 4 grounds down the 4 corners. It's been marked. I think I know. House of alone.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's something. Not working, right?
I just said, I figured I'd invite you, we're out here in the morning, so.
I still haven't.
That's on there.
What's that?
You got that on there.
One.
I just
Drop my-
It doesn't really say what the rest of this is supposed to be, though, does it?
No, well, underneath the board itself, there's a lot more write-up.
Sometimes with some of the other guys from American Modded. Right.
It was printed in red. Excuse me. Optical sense of data from motor V sense. My,
Blood vector.
yeah. There's something going on, I haven't figured it out, Julie hasn't figured it out. But I'm having visual problems when my blood sugars change.
Mhm.
And also associated at the same time is disorientation. Yeah. I think it's just blood pressure.
It's like, it's blood vector, it's blood vector drop. It's like, it's mostly just a drop.
It's when I
Mhm.
go from seated to standing, particularly if I'm on the floor doing something.
Yeah, yeah.
Hop up to run up the steps, I get 2 or 3 steps up and say. Please.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this says 8 pins and these list 10 pins. Doesn't seem like it's talking about the same thing.
Well, this says header 2, and these other ones over here, I don't know what the hell they.
Great. There's the motor incline, use that's marked.
Yeah,
This, it says header 2, that says header 3. On this board. Well, I didn't know whether that was all for that, yeah. Yeah, well, okay, if we go, then that says header 1. There's HT2. So this is header 1, this is header 3. This is 2, and then this is, looks like 5. Yeah. That's for the tachometer. Okay. Supposed to be some sort of feedback loop from the motor. Yeah, it comes back through the tachometer, doesn't? Yeah. And that's a voltage thing. It's a count. Once you set up with, as I understand it, once you set it up with a pulse width modulator to a particular speed, then if the load increases and the RPMs go down, the board then will compensate by increasing the output so that it maintains a constant RPM. The one had like a temperature sensor on the motor that would cut it off. And that is in the motor itself, on 4 wires coming out of the motor. 2 blues are going through a thermal sensor. And the black and white. I thought they came back up here to tell me that it would cut off the motor. It's probably on this plan. Well, they had suggested that we're looking at 2 different boards. I know. So I know. This one's quite a bit different than this one. Yes. This is the one that was really in question. Only this one doesn't seem to be doing what we think it should be doing either. So blood. Let's go try to move that down one. That should be the 4th. Okay. The fourth pin, I mean, it's. I don't know. Right, so if the first one's ground. Then. It should just be down one from where it was.
And this, I have no idea what that is.
Arrows are, you can pick one. And just pick up on the road.
How? I don't think so, because this was keyed, you can see the keys
Mhm.
on both sides for the cable.
Yeah.
Which I never had.
We're not supposed to be in here messing with this.
Right, but there's usually still something on the print that points to pin one.
Now we're powered down, I'm gonna turn this over and look at the. No, I'm not.
No.
Let's see in the edge, no.
The only thing I would think, and I'm going, when I'm spitballing, is there's a silver dot.
Well,
That might be your marker for pin one.
let's see, if we go by,
Flip it over and get up in the other way and see if it lights up.
you got ground, 9,
Oh,
T,
that's
P, U, D, S, G. And then 9 and D. So these mean something. G would be ground. S would be something. Yeah. S would be OptoSense maybe from the console. And then D would be holding motor sense, current sense.
So it's either pin. It's either the fourth one down or the fourth one up. Those are only two choices.
That would be my guess, yeah. I mean, if I'm believing what this thing says. There's only 8 pins in there, so it's. And both top pin and bottom pin are ground according to this thing, so.
And I looked up, I had this board on the internet. And he had a wiring harness plugged into it, so I couldn't tell for sure. But it looked to me like he was on the fourth pin from the top.
We'll do the 5th pin from the top.
I'm gonna do the fourth from the bottom.
Do the 4th from the bottom.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think it's the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The same, on 8 pins, it's the same exact pin, it's inverted differently. It's all about semantics.
It's all about semantics.
If it's 8 pins, they're different. 4 from the top is next to 4 from the bottom.
Yeah. Are we ready to try it one more time? And if this doesn't work, or if we see sparks coming out,
We have a lamp.
we have hotness.
DC volts 200.
You know, maybe turn the bulb.
Let me see whether we have anything here. We have nothing here.
Tell whether it's on or off. Continuity check
Okay.
on the bottom. It's true. You're right. And that way you would know in the future that it's on or off.
At this particular time. We get 2.
So it was on.
And the bulb's good.
Yeah, I know the bulb's good because I tested it.
Well, that was when you tested it, that was,
That was at least a day ago.
see, you know, a lot could have happened over the weekend. Tasmanian gremlins might have got to it.
Sounds like you're-
You have no, there's no power going to it at all.
Well, I know, but I'm still on continuity.
Okay.
Just see and make sure it's go.
And I'm still open.
It's three-way switch.
Mhm.
That would be funny too, but we had it working before and it would need to turn it off too many times.
Right. And it blows up, right? Like right number now.
Click that. There. 0.02. So we may have been in two positions.
That's too.
They make them.
I know they make them. I'm still calling it weird.
All right, now, you want me to go to a different voltage or what?
You're trying to measure pulse width modulation. I think you need an O-scope to actually measure that the right way. Nobody brought an O-scope with them, did they?
Well, there's still a load one up in the trunk that I didn't get. I have to dig it out from the basement and plug it up.
Pulse width modulation is like the apparent change of a voltage, and it's going to be somewhere between whatever and the high, and it's going to move so fast that the multimeter may look like it's zero.
Oh, the multimeter won't read it because this is for this board, as I understand it from looking at the internet. It's gotta be at 22 hertz. So,
Just to make it complicated and
yeah,
and work with.
to do the. That's the cell.
You want to try it again?
Let me change the input here.
Okay.
And I can do this since it's been in play for a while. I need a mop bucket if the capacitor's still charged.
Well, yeah, probably. That
Only
capacitor
the-
probably
only
was
the
charged
Type of
before.
wire with that big one.
That big one will light me up.
You're live. It's hot
Okay.
and it ain't doing nothing.
Well, this may be because I don't have the pulse width modulator. So, didn't make any difference on that is the orientation of the pulse.
I wouldn't think so.
That's the only other thing I think of.
I've seen stuff that say that it wants to work at a certain pulse rate, work at other pulse rates, so I'm not even sure that the hertz.
Yeah, the guy with this board on YouTube is very specific, that if you don't have it set at 20 hertz,
It's not gonna do nothing.
it's not going to be.
It's kind of interesting because I've seen stuff that says one thing and then it'll work on this huge range.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, it's depending on what the motor you're trying to drive is, it's designed for that particular. Yeah, I don't know.
That thing was a beefy motor too.
You know,
Yeah.
but. It's probably going through the coil on that cap though before it drives the motor, so.
But the capacitor is a filter capacitor to level it out because the motor is a DC motor. It's supposed to be running 0 to 130 volts.
I would say once the controller points in to tell it to accelerate or slow down,
Do I?
how do you tell it to speed up or slow down then?
There on the treadmill, there's either a Kanabi or up arrow, down arrow to speed it up or slow
Well,
it down.
right, but I'm just saying, how's that, affect the 20 hertz
Yeah.
wave?
They're independent. As I understand it, this pulse width modulator operates at 20
He's
hertz
killing that.
for the pulse. And then how frequently you have it is whether you do like 10% duty time and 15 completed. Now, there are other motor control boards off of treadmills that depend on pot. And it's resistant, but I don't believe, I know this one doesn't, and this one in the corner here has a little LED that says pulse with modulation, PWM. But, this is why I was talking last week about trying to find a schematic for this. 'Cause, yeah, I can make out up and down for the treadmill elevation and feedback for that. And I can make out that, yeah, this is AC in and this is DC out. But none of the rest of it. This is not identified, this is not, well, you know, this is the feedback loop for the up and down for the elevation.
Yeah. It's surprisingly complicated inside of one of those.
Oh, I'm fine with
It's- When
There's a lot of
when he
work.
showed it last week, I started looking at him a little closer, I'm kind of like, I'm glad I don't mess with these things.
I had a really nice one I want.
Hertz is the frequency, and then you're probably like what you said, you're controlling the duty cycle, so it's on for so long and it's off. And the longer it's on, I think the more voltage you would appear to have.
Well, I was just looking at it, it was.
And
You look, I mean, your 20 hertz is your carrier wave, something. when you
Yeah,
have to
something like
Tell it what your speed control is.
you're not controlling with the pot, you're not controlling the hertz, you're controlling the duty cycle. So it's on or off however many times. And it's, the motor that he has is a 130-volt DC motor. So the microcontroller that's inside the board could even limit it even further so that it doesn't just go insanely fast.
This one has a pot for that.
Yeah,
That one does not.
yeah. It's probably somewhere there's a microcontroller somewhere controlling it. So you've got a pulse width modulation generator that's maybe not being friendly with the.
And the reason I bought this one is because the guy, again,
He had that.
YouTube says, this is the one that worked for me. Other people said, well, I built one. And it's like,
Yeah, I built them. I was about one bigger.
and for $13,
Yeah.
I know it's not the pulse width modulated unit that's screwed up. I might have done something else wrong.
Or that board could have gone bad.
I picked this up off of Craigslist from the guy over in Lebanon. And he had a mechanical problem with the treadmill.
Yeah.
It was trying to run, so it did not appear to be
The board.
control board or the motor.
Usually the bearing burns out on the. Belt somewhere.
In those sections, they didn't have it.
Probably.
There was a guy who threw out one down the street, and I went down that with my little two-wheeler, and I just tipped that up. So we put the two-wheeler under it and we went home. It's like, no.
I've been to dozens and dozens of household auctions where people have them. And the auctioneer, please take this. I will give you $2 if you take it away.
We'll pay you to take it.
No, nobody wants it. I mean, I kind of want it now that I know what kind of motors are in it, but no, I don't want this stupid thing.
Not the whole heavy.
I had great plans for that movie. I'm not sure if it's in the business, but sitting out in the weather for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the cover's still under it, but the rain's probably ate the shit out of it. Really nice.
My wife, father was an auctioneer, and her grandfather was an auctioneer. So growing up her whole life, almost every weekend was an auction in the States. And so you're walking along in the garage sale and she can point out, not more than $20. Nobody wants that. That's gonna be out of the trash tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hang on to it for 4 years, 5 years, and then reevaluate.
Yeah.
I don't have any insight other than my insight now about that thing. I have no idea why it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Connect to this, connect the power supply, press the rotary switch for 10 seconds to switch normal mode into serial mode. Okay.
I got a thought.
One, 2, 3.
The other plug in.
Now you do this one here.
Well, not.
It is now, you're hot
Yeah.
now.
I'm just reading
Oh.
that. Short press rotary switch to set frequency and change value by rotating the switch. I'm reading. Yeah, there's a message. Keep press for 5 seconds to lock set parameters. Test. Press button on off to turn on or off pulse width modulation signal. Off. Out.
I see nothing. That's cool.
Honestly,
Oh, you guys are like the line guy, right?
I can troubleshoot some VFDs and things, but don't get down to it. VFD goes bad, I pop a new one in, but.
I'm just trying to give you
Send
an
it off-
opportunity. to
Send
shine,
send the
so.
bad one off to RMA and
My,
go
my,
on.
my variable frequency drive is running a freaking massive ass motor out in a plant. If it dies, I just pop a new one in.
Yeah.
Get the HIM module and reprogram it.
RMA the old one and you're done.
Make a phone call to CBT and have a new one delivered tomorrow. Or I pull one off the spare shelf if I got one.
Yeah.
Vending machine.
That was,
No, no good vending machines. Normally it's in closets or something. Normally it's in a cabinet, it's caged somewhere. Because I play with it, it ends up in a cage somewhere.
That's the international paper was putting out vending machines all down the line.
Yeah, a lot of places would do that, especially like the PPE and stuff now, but the stuff I play with is like. I
Oh,
mean,
no, they'd have like 20 horsepower electric motors.
okay, vending machine
The
motor.
mechanic could just walk up and it'd just come out and set it down on the cart.
That's interesting.
You know,
I've not seen that one. Most I see PPE a lot, but I haven't seen anything
And then
else.
of course, then that box phone's home and says I need another motor.
here's an idea to try just for the sake of, because we haven't tried it. What if we plug the power in first and then plug the pulse width modulation in?
They would, theoretically,
It shouldn't matter.
you're right, you're right.
It'd be,
In theory, it should not change anything.
It shouldn't matter. But what if that microcontroller is trying to initialize first and you're already got a signal sitting on it? And it can't initialize?
Well, I can turn this off.
Well, I'm thinking just unplug it
Do that.
and then let me plug this in and then wait 4 or 5 seconds and plug. Wait 4 or 5.
Okay, we got a light on the board.
Yeah. It should be, that should be plenty for it to reinitialize. And. I mean, yes, it should not make a difference, but.
But I also understand what you're saying. Yes, I know, but. Trust me, there have been days I've done that too. I know this shouldn't change anything, but let's try it anyways.
Where are the pokey people? That's the real question. If Sundays the Wiz, he'd have this fixed already.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Ray,
Hurricanes.
I'm gonna kill it. I guess it's, my idea was not,
Hey, it's an idea.
well. I've seen stranger things.
Yeah. Hi, Ray.
Oh,
Hello, everybody.
Ray's out driving.
Yes, I am.
He gave my other one away.
Did he? Where you at, Ray?
I had a question for you. What is the capital of Connecticut?
I have no idea.
Mount Pelion.
Bismarck. I
That's
have
North
no
I think
idea.
that's North Dakota. I was gonna say, I think that's North Dakota.
That's
I'm not sure, but it might be North Dakota.
I think it's Mount Pelion.
Just a second. Let me see if I'm typing it in. Capital of Connecticut.
Connecticut. It sure isn't Groton. You don't want
Look
to be.
like you're in an empty car there,
The
Ray.
capital of Connecticut is. Well, it's not Bushnell Park. It- hmm. Well, the Capitol building overlooks Bushnell Park. Connecticut State Capitol.
They don't have one.
They're so damn small. We don't have a capital.
Hartford.
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 So if I'm.
I knew it was Hartford. I'm in Hartford. Okay, I'm in Hartford, Connecticut.
I just got a message from Steve, actually about 18 minutes ago. I was messing with that. Says he's not feeling well, so he's not coming in.
He's not coming in. Does that mean he's
Headed
gonna remote in, Zoom in,
He says he's going to bed. He doesn't feel well, so.
going to bed? Wow.
Well,
Okay.
it's just as well he doesn't bring whatever he's got here.
Yeah.
I got problems with my own. You're looking particularly clear on your camera today.
See, I wiped the screen. Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
There you go. I wiped the screen off.
Oh,
this week.
He's, looks like he's driving a car, not the truck.
Yeah.
I'm in a rental car.
Oh,
Let's see, since the last time I talked to you guys, I went to Seattle, Washington, and I spent a week there. Came home for a couple days. I flew to Tampa, Florida, set up a new laser machine, fixed the laser machine, flew to Hartford, Connecticut, drove towards Boston, almost up to Boston, for a repair. And that was this morning. And I got there and they were like, well, it wouldn't work like a month ago, and we tried to fix some things and we still didn't get it to work. So we gave up and called you for help. Like, okay. They're like, so we don't know what's wrong with it. Like, so what does it do? What does it not do? He's like, it doesn't fire the laser. I'm like, oh, okay. How long's it been since you cleaned it? And he's like, well, I think the maintenance guy changed the lenses like 4 years ago. And they haven't cleaned it in like 4 years.
No hole through.
The laser tube stopped working, so they just decided they were going to change the laser tube. That didn't solve it, so they changed the power supply. That didn't solve it, and they just called for help. So I got there, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just start by cleaning it. And I cleaned the mirrors, and that wasn't good enough, so I replaced the mirrors. Cleaned the lens, it was okay. And I just started running into stupid little problem after stupid little problem. So I changed the water, cleaned out the water lines. I went to close the door and I realized somebody had bypassed the door switches. So I fixed the door switches for safety. And then I went down to the power supply and they had jumpered out the safety in the power supply connector. So I fixed that, put that back to normal. And I just started, okay, I'm going to find out what they did here, find out what they did there. Okay, put everything back to normal. And then I ran a project, or I started to run a project and went to fire the laser and like, okay, it works. And they're like, are you kidding? What was broken? I'm like, I have no idea. I fixed like a dozen little things that I thought were stupid. Like when you use those push on connectors, but they wiggle around. So they're like spade connectors.
Yeah.
On the little cherry switches. So I pulled the connectors off, crimped them down with my pliers, and then pressed them in place, and they fit good. And I did that to like 5 door sensor switches, and I took out all the stupid little jumpers and the tape and the other stuff that they had, and made sure the water is flowing, made sure everything was turned on right, and I'm like, this thing works fine. And they're like, what'd you do? How'd you fix it? I'm like, I have no idea. I still don't know what was broken. So I did the beam alignment and started doing some little test projects. And they still kept asking, what'd you fix? What'd you fix? I'm like, I don't know.
Pretty bad
But it works just great now.
when the expert doesn't know what he did to fix the problem.
I mean, I just went in there and started cleaning and like, okay, this wire is loose, we'll fix that. And this wire is loose, we'll fix that. This switch I had one switch that it had so much like goop on it from the fumes and the residue from cutting acrylic for the past 8 years. So I replaced the switch. I was like, I'm just gonna replace the other one too, because it probably has just as much goop on it. Replace those, put it back in place, and make sure the door closed, and everything's fine. I still don't know what's up.
I was reminded of a situation, woman I knew in undergraduate school, went on to become an information technologist, and she started working for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And they documented every change that they made because they weren't certain whether it needed to be changed or not. And she explained it to me that this went back to World War II, where the Nazis were trying to perfect the vengeance weapons, and they blew up, and they tinkered with it, blew up, and they tinkered with it, and it blew up. And they tinkered with it, and it launched, and it went to England. And Hitler says, great, do it again. And they didn't know what they had done. I'm thinking that they're a little harsher about that than your encounter with the cleaning the lens and the disconnect.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that what stopped the laser from working before was a safety device, whether it was like the chiller cable connected correctly or a door switch or some safety device. I'm sure that's what it was before. And then just me going through and double checking everything and oh yeah, it works fine now. I went through and checked every wire on the controller, all the wires on the laser power supply, just make sure that they were the little terminal screws were tightened correctly. And something I did was just enough to fix the problem.
Just right. Yeah, I had a customer, that constantly would change something about their computer. And they would bring it in, they wouldn't have any idea what they changed, so that's exactly what I made them do. I was like, if you're just going to randomly change stuff, you're going to write down what you've randomly changed, so I can figure out what you're
Well,
actually doing.
otherwise, I'm gonna get a question. Somebody says, "Hey, it won't fire." The power's on, the lights are on, all the little switches are toggled the right direction, but the laser doesn't actually light up and fire. And somebody called me. It's 5 o'clock today, and they're like, "Oh, it's just broken. It won't work at all." I'm thinking the main fuse is bad. The laser machine's not turning on at all. Or, oh no, it moves around and it's in the right pattern, but the laser light doesn't come on. I'm like, okay, so now we're talking about the red dot pointer. We're talking about the burning red, CO2 laser beam. Like, well, it scans back and forth, but it doesn't cut anything. Like, okay, now we're getting down to what the problem really is. And I'm like, okay, so normally if the machine was working correctly and then it doesn't work anymore, that probably is like a door safety switch, water safety. Did you turn off the chiller? She goes, well, I tightened down these screws over here. What screws did you tighten down? Oh, the little brass ones behind the mirror. I was like, so you threw the laser beam alignment out of whack, is what she did. It was firing perfectly fine. She threw the laser beam way off target by tightening down the little screws that she thought they needed to be tightened.
Right into the side of wondering why there's a big hole in the side of my laser machine now.
The paint on the inside of my door is burning. No joke. I was like, lady, I don't know what to say. Oh, Lord. But whatever.
Well, we are messing with motor drives for
Motor control.
big 130 volt DC motors. Came out of the treadmill.
I have a set of those. Came out of a really nice treadmill. And I have the amplifier that goes with it, the motor. I think it was 190 or 90 volt DC motor. It's in my garage right now. It yeah, it had a little potentiometer that you could put into the motor speed controller to tell it to go faster, slower. And it had a whole bunch of stuff, but I was able to basically break it down to AC voltage going in, voltage going to the motor, and the potentiometer for getting it to work. It might have had I don't think it had a backwards. The amplifier had a backwards mode, and it was not being used because it's a treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure nobody wants to run that thing backwards. Yeah.
Makes a good lathe out here.
They might, but I've got enough lathes. I think somebody from the group here gave me a DC motor for the jet lathe and the motor controller that went to it. They wanted to make a slow speed lathe. So they took the high speed motor off of it and the high speed controller, and they put in a slow speed motor. That was like 2 years ago. So I have a backup motor and stuff for my lathe now. Thank you guys.
Well, today I brought in the motor controller that, I brought pictures of the board for last week. And Vincente, if I'm understanding you correctly, the fuse is gone. Yeah, and the protection on the. And OB protection is blow up. Okay, so the back of the capacitor is gone. So you couldn't test it even if we had a schematic because the board is incapacitated. I know it's just at least. You should, but the problem is not inside the board. So, but as a fallback, I brought a pulse width modulator. Where I set it to correct frequency. And we were trying to use this motor controller to drive to the this as a load. Huh? And
We're not having any luck getting it to work.
And we were hoping that you could look at it and say, it should be obvious even to the casual observer. So this is a 15 amp breaker. We had an emergency disconnect, but it didn't need to be disconnected because it wasn't working. But when we plug it in, we get an LED indicating the board is powered. When I plug in the pulse width modulator.
We're live.
Okay, thank you very much. This should change the load. The frequency has nothing to do. Well, they indicated on this board, it has to be 20 hertz. And then just as an aside, I didn't appreciate what they said on the inside of the board was also the connections. And they're not documented anyway. This whole board is, in fact, this is not it's like a serial connection.
You love stuff with China.
This stuff's probably not.
It's still not documented, so.
Well, yeah.
And according to this schematic.
You're still live, so. Watch where you put your hand.
Is from the pulse width modulator.
Superpowers?
Well,
I think that's where we are, but we don't.
120 just tingles.
This is pin 1 and that's pin 1.
Well, you're assuming they don't touch on the side.
I am assuming that they don't touch the capacitor side, yes.
For the coil. Other side of the transformer may not necessarily be the same.
A lot of times there's an enable that you have to bypass on those for safety.
That's what I thought too, but. He's got the schematic for that particular board and it doesn't look like there's an enable. Unless I'm just not seeing them.
Well, mine had external little jumpers all over it for like the motor switch, AC input, a safety. There was an external light. There was a secondary method of powering. Gosh, there was a whole bunch of jumpers that just were not needed.
I'd say, I would think that there'd be an on and off in the safety court.
I'll bet Vincente gets that thing running here in a minute. That motor's just gonna spin and jump scare the crap out of him.
We got a light bulb
Light
hooked
bulb.
up to it. It should be glowing
You-
like a mad dog right now.
Oh, the other thing was like, well, look, power light bulb.
Sure.
I'd probably connect a voltmeter to it as well.
Frequency is locked in. And it's 20 hertz.
The light bulb won't care if it's AC or DC. Yeah,
Yeah, but it'll tell you like if it's the voltage is too low to actually glow the light bulb. So if it's like a 120 volt light bulb and it's getting 10 volts, at least you know you've got some point of success, even though the light bulb's not glowing very much at all. It's got electricity to it, just not glowing.
Well, but we were just saying it was
If you take-
130.
If you take an incandescent bulb and hook it up to a 9-volt battery, it'll be fine.
It'll glow.
It'll glow. Yeah, that's what
Can you
the
see
old
it?
flashlights were.
Can
I
you see
mean,
it under these?
they were old
spotlights?
incandescent bulbs.
Can you see the glow under these?
Yeah, but it won't glow. 120 volt light bulb won't glow. Not that much.
Okay, you're right, it won't glow much, but it still glows.
So
But
when I'm
this motor controller is supposed to be for the 130 volt motor, so a 120 volt bulb should be glowing.
The boom.
when it's working correctly, the amplifier would make the bulb glow. Yes.
I can't remember why not.
I have I've repaired 3-phase motor amplifiers, and I'll hook one light bulb to each phase so that I can watch it sequence across the light bulbs without putting an actual motor in place.
Yeah.
And that's nice when you have bad transistors in a motor drive, because if they're failed with the transistors closed, it'll have that one phase on constantly instead of sequencing through the 3 phases.
This is just a single phase DC motor, 130 volt.
Okay.
So 120 volt bulb should work just fine.
They should be able
Should
to
glow, yeah.
the output or from the cord, you just have a light.
Send us the model number. Put the schematics out there. And in the meantime, hey, I was at a makerspace today. There's no way I'm gonna be able to read those schematics. You're crazy. I was at a makerspace today. It's the Hartford CT makerspace, and it's actually pretty big. They've got about 20,000 square feet of makerspace,
Nice.
and that is big. I think some of it was in classrooms and dedicated to like a school robotic space, but I mean, still, it was big space. So I was thinking we should go ahead and get some volunteers to help me make the journal makerspace. The journal building Middletown makerspace.
Middletown makerspace.
Some of them.
But you just gave away our laser.
This is.
Should I kill this?
I don't give away that. I wouldn't use that laser at my makerspace.
What's
Put a
that?
new one in there.
I'm killing that. They're making me a little nervous sticking their fingers.
Gotta find where it's hot.
Like bigger.
I hate
Got power
it.
here? Nope. Got power here? Nope. Got power there?
No, no, no. My friend are panic. Send the ambulance. They're doing weird stuff. They grabbed onto some DC and it's not good.
This is, this and the 3.6 DC motor. Panel.
I think there's needs to be a safety.
A safety switch, right?
I,
Maybe one of those connections need to be closed. Like a safety switch that we press when. Well, or something, this. Over there was a safety we had wired into it,
well, no, not
Oh,
that,
you're saying like a,
like an enable switch.
like an enable switch, yeah.
like you put your safety thing if you attach to your clothing. So if you fall off, it flips the engine off.
Well, that's what that would have been, but that should have been in there somewhere.
Wired, yeah, that should be connected to us.
To
Pair of
The
pins
fell-
underneath something.
Push this. It stops. But where he's connected? It had been connected to the input.
to the 100.
Means, but we took it out because we weren't getting power. And I suspect it was a bad connection or the switch is bad.
But-
So that was actually wired into the main line instead of to the board.
Yeah, I think there should be an enable. I think the enable's coming off the motor. I think that's what the two blue wires do.
Those are overloaded.
Yeah, but
Checking to make sure.
I don't know. The two blue wires could be an external
it's, a-
field, or it could be braking. But it could be an external field.
it's according to the motor diagram I saw, it is a temperature sensor, and in the couple of videos I watched, they use that temperature sensor as another cutoff point. So if the temperature goes too high in the motor, it'll shut everything down.
And that there's the back belt rollers to make sure the roller doesn't burn up the belt. If the bearing goes out.
So basically, the board has a couple of different sensors on
Kind of sounds like a laser machine that needed to be cleaned.
it. And it sounds like a laser machine.
There's a lot of videos about this MC 2100. And people have put the two wires that are the safety, heat overload for the motor onto this. But many people don't have a motor that has that.
The safety.
That's a good point. If you've got an overload switch and it's not connected, that's probably the part that's stopping it from running.
That's what I'm thinking, but
I think you've got a heater overload switch that needs to be bypassed. You probably have like a fall off the treadmill safety that needs to be bypassed. And you might have another thing.
I don't know about the fall off. Because if this safety switch came off of this, did it come off out of the same deal, or is this something else? This safety switch looks like it was connected right to the mains. That thing's huge and beefy. And says 120 volts DC. It is on the DC side.
That might be the mains. You never know.
0.1.
No, but this is not the mains.
That's not the mains. We probably blew it up when we had it hooked to the mains. So that it says
I wouldn't hook it across the mains. I would hook it in series with one of the main inputs. So you're gonna have neutral and AC hot, and I would have put it in series with the AC hot line going in.
it
You didn't hook it up neutral and AC, did you?
it says it's a DC thing. It's on the DC side. That probably
Did you like put voltage across it, or were you trying to put it in series?
it's too late. It's probably toast.
And it's irrelevant because it's no longer in the circuit.
We took it out of the circuit because it wasn't working.
I have either.
As soon as we plugged it in, I went,
Well, that was not my fault. I didn't look at it.
If you shorted that, you could have hurt the transistors in the
And then
drive.
oh, 10 amps.
we were never getting power to the board, and we have the board now.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
It's been-
And you're just messing with me then. Okay.
And I know how to solve this problem.
Hook you want the switch. Hook up, do a continuity test on it.
No, it's an even easier solution than that.
Oh, yeah. That's the solution.
But a continuity check would make sure it still works.
It doesn't,
They tested that earlier.
Oh, did you check it on
They
it?
tested
Well-
it earlier.
When they have AC power going through it.
Yeah, that's why they took it out of the circuit. They already tested that.
Well, but I'm saying, you don't have to DC and not AC, and wouldn't necessarily start it up, but
Wow.
well, I never tested it before I put it in the bag to bring down here. So it may not have ever worked since I picked it up.
that's what I'm saying. If you got the voltmeter right there. Before you threw it in the trash.
I've got a,
Long walk, but you don't have.
I've got a box of those at home. Probably half a window, but
I'm not real sure what the, I mean, it says DC on it. I don't know why you couldn't hook AC to it and just turn it on and off.
all those little micro switches have extremely high ratings based on what the size is. You know, then, wow, it's designed to take it off.
Oh, you're right, by subject. I was looking at. I didn't move the decimal point when I read. Had a decimal point. I didn't move the decimal point. Gotta move the decimal. What it said. Oh, I thought it said 0.1 here, which would be insanely low. 10 makes way more sense. If you move the decimal point.
You have to. Yes. I hooked it up earlier today, and I got it backwards, and it did not eliminate. And turn it around. And it did eliminate. I will use the run. And the also. Is this AC? No, that is DC. 12 volts. And that is rated from 3 to 24, I believe.
I wish I would have been thinking a little bit ahead. I could have brought that little O-scope. That little tiny thing in front of them. It would have at least shown that there was pulsing on there. It would have been great to tell what it actually was, but it would have at least shown it was there.
Your hands free. It's close enough. I think the hundreds and going.
What did you say the model number of that controller was?
MC 2100.
It's an MC 2100, Ray.
Sounds really, really familiar.
Ray asked him. Ray asked in chat.
When are you gonna be home, right?
Tomorrow morning,
Cool.
treadmill motor controller. Oh, that looks so familiar. Yeah, my flight actually lands in Dayton at like 9:30. Something like that.
What's their next cool project?
Barry wanted to know what your next project is, Ray.
Gosh, I don't know. I, right now I'm working on a Morse code here. That's going to be laser cut. And I know it's a stupid little project, but it's all acrylic. Like I think there's four screws in it right now so far. I wanted to be able to put together with no glue, and it's gonna have maybe a total of like 8 inches of wire and 4 screws and an 1/8 inch phone jack for connecting to the radio.
Cool. You going to just going to be a project for sale, or is this just a personal?
I'm gonna try to get there's like 4 different models, 4 different kinds that I want to make. And I'm hoping that the designs will be ready by like May 5th.
Oh, you're breaking.
And I'm trying to give them away or sell them really stupid cheap at the Hamvention.
Yeah.
Because I got a buttload of acrylic and nothing to do with it right now. So, and I want to do this for, I don't want it to look like a toy, but I want it to be something I can, it's so cheap I can give it away or give away the designs and get some popularity out of it from the Hamvention.
It's in their call sign.
Well, I'm gonna pre-make them. I don't want to make them on site. That way, if any call sign goes on, it's gonna be my call sign on the bottom. That way, everybody knows who I am. We'll have Rabbit Lays USA, and if there was a Morse code keyer for $5, would you buy it?
I'm not.
You're not a Morse code guy.
Yeah, probably. I probably would buy it for $5.
You're not a Morse key code guy, so
I ain't got that one yet.
Morse code key.
Yeah.
So
I ain't got that down yet, so.
What kind of ham people are you? Macker?
That's us.
I got a whole lot of other shit I do, and something I do on the side so bad it's ridiculous. I barely do that even. So I actually gotta get my general. My technician expired this year. I didn't have to use them up.
Mine expires next year, and as hard as I work to get the extra, I'm not going to let it expire.
Well, that makes sense. I'm actually off right now for reasons, like part of one of the things I want to do in the next month is go ahead and get my, at least get to general if I don't get my sure.
General wasn't too bad. Extra, I took that test like 3 or 4 times to do it.
Well, like I said, the last time I took the test was 2014.
But
I've got to go back and relearn it. I got to relearn everything.
Go for Morse code. You really get a fire. Right.
I'll make sure I get, well, I won't be able to go to him, but
Well,
I'll be in, I'll be at the gallery.
If there was,
Same weekend.
if there was a Morse code thing for $5, especially if it came from Ray, I probably would pay $5 just because.
All right, can we push that to 10? No, I'm kidding.
Because I know the guy that made it.
Yeah, that's, I got a bunch of stuff that he's made just because he's made it. He makes good stuff.
Yeah, Leroy was getting rid of a bunch of robots, and he was like, "Oh, I can't get rid of Ray's stuff, Ray's designs." Ray will yell at me if I give away these or throw them in the garbage.
Ray makes robots.
Okay,
He's got a laser company up
yeah,
in
like I gathered that part.
He makes robots, and he's an Arduino guy and a hobby guy, and he owns a building and wants to put a makerspace in, and he needs help because he's everywhere.
Because I'm gone all the time. I need help. Somebody to
Ray,
set up lights and
Yep. Ray is everywhere.
basically turn it into a makerspace.
Yeah,
So.
I see it's 3 months, 4 months maybe since I've seen Ray in person.
I'm sorry.
Ray's, but
I'm working.
I know
Fine.
I'm not mad.
I want to quit. I want to quit so bad.
see the army robot.
Do I?
When do we get to see the army robot?
Oh yeah,
I
right.
need to call them back.
Yeah, we want to take a field trip.
It's Lear in Dayton. I need to call them back. So hey, we're ready to come for another tour.
And then we need,
That was really cool. I had a lot of fun on my first tour.
yeah. We need to take a tour of the fire robot too. That's here
The
on somewhere out there.
The fire robot?
You not see the new dog fire?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
the
the flamethrower. Yeah, I think they're up in Cleveland.
Are they?
Yeah, it's a little bit fur for a field trip.
No, this is the company. They make I think it's the Cobra.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Speaking of robot dogs that do stuff, did you see Sparkle from Boston Dynamics?
Is that the one they dressed up? I saw something about that on something. He dressed it up like a Muppet. Kind of looks very Muppet.
It's very cool. It looks like a Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looks very good and some Muppety. Fraggle. It's like blue.
Gremlin to carry the bomb in or something? Or-
It's blue. It's fuzzy blue.
It's a custom suit and a custom the robot is
It's
Spot,
a standard robot.
Oh, okay.
but
The
it's a custom design and it's just so wonky.
They're trying to make like a blue version of Ralph.
Maybe
When that's a
this
dog.
this thing really it
Bolt. It needs a bolt.
Rolf. Yeah, kind of.
It looks more like
It
Sheepdog from Labyrinth.
Mhm.
Is to me, except in blue.
I haven't seen Fraggle Rock in like
I got it on my
1,000
server.
years or something. But there was a blue dog in Fraggle Rock, and
I'm very proud of my Fraggle Rock collection. That took some work.
well, apparently it looks an awful lot like the blue dog from Fraggle Rock.
Know the Fraggle Rock very well, but
I haven't done any sort of practical, remember?
I did track it down. Kind of like Snorts, that took a little work too.
Snorts, yeah. I like Snorts. The Smurfs of the sea.
The other one the other day I realized I didn't have on my indie server is Briscoe County Junior.
Oh, nice.
I have it on DVD somewhere in my house. I have to resort to that, but
I don't know what,
So I would sound like what shall.
It does look like. That's funny.
yep,
I saw that, I'm like, okay, that's hilarious.
it, they got it next to a spot robot with the, articulating arms on and it's dancing, it's doing normal spot things.
Yeah.
So,
I like to put it out in the yard and let it chase some people.
my comment was, this is what happens when you ask about what it wants to cost, but what it has.
Yeah, should have made it went around and see. One of the dogs or. One of the other
I,
full metal,
Well,
yeah. When Mark Kamara,
mm,
I had read somewhere that they were trying to, they were testing the waters and maybe letting Spot be more touchy-feely so that autism kids and people with disability can play with them. Which makes a lot of sense.
they would enjoy that. You seen the hologram. That would be, whatever company makes. They got it, splitting it out for you. And a certain area look like the water,
Oh,
and then like dolphins will come up and let you pet them, or whatever, but of course they're not there, they can,
wow.
it's pretty interesting to watch the kids.
I hate the MC-21.
That's a quality intro, it's official.
That explains a lot about what we're seeing with this thing, right?
Hey, did you guys figure that if you look on the 2100 motor controller,
Yeah.
look on the far right side. It says CB1 and or CBA, no CB1 and CB1A
CB1 and CB1A.
circuit breaker. CB1, CB1A.
Board I have is a revision B.
I didn't see that when I looked at that board. but-
It's next to the transformer on the end of the circuit board.
CB1.
It would be on your right, about halfway up the circuit board. Is there two little maybe I'm looking at a different manual. It would be on the right of the circuit board. I'm running out of juice here on my phone, guys.
I don't see it.
Move your camera so I can kind of see what you guys are doing.
My camera is stretching its limits about where it can go.
Okay, we'll turn it to the right. Turn your camera to the right a little bit.
The other right.
The other right. I don't see, I see. Okay, I'll let you in the meeting.
It's a different circuit board than the manual I'm looking at.
Well, I said they will join and he can share his screen. So you can see,
I think it's a different circuit board than the manual I'm looking at.
it probably is, there's several different revisions.
Yeah,
Is LTS. The same number, but ends in LTS.
I'm going to go ahead and,
is it You said it was an MC 2100, right?
Yes.
You need to turn on your video. I don't see any video from you. There we go. It is.
I would say it's fingerprint, right?
MC 2100 LTS revision B.
Rev B?
Rev B as in Bravo.
2007.
The only thing that I see is that HD2. I don't know what that's for.
LTS-30?
50.
50 watts. MC 2100 LTS-50 W. And it's got a vendor number. I can't read
It's
that.
worth $196. If it was working and you could actually sell it.
Well, it's official. I hate the MC.
Go back up to the top a little bit where the unmarked, that connector right there, right at the top.
Okay, this one where my finger is?
Yes,
That's the RPM backfeed.
the RPM back feed.
Above it, you can't see it from this angle, but it says pack.
Okay. Yeah, I still think that there's something going on here. It does say TAC. Wow, that's cool. This the board's kind of marked, sort of.
Marked better than a lot.
Yeah,
What's the other one there?
this guy who keeps saying it's official, I hate this board. I was trying to get to a portion where he demonstrates
That it actually works.
this board with this motor controller. And there's no other interlocks, interfaces, jumpers, or anything. But all I've been able to do is repeat the same opening statement.
That connector is an incline. Oh, if you believe with how it's marked, it's the incline sensor.
Yeah, and I have the incline motor and the feedback does fit into this, but I'm not interested in that. So I just ignored that.
What's this other pin header? Does your schematic show what this other pin header?
So you got the controller that also does the incline motor.
Yes.
Yes,
So there should be a set of 3 pins. One's a common and one pin says it's a button that basically telling the incline motor to go up. The other pin is a button that goes to common that says motor go down.
and there's also a position feedback that comes back to the board to tell the treadmill it has reached the correct elevation. But I haven't been doing anything with that. I'm only interested.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with the incline. It's just not necessary. It is curious if you've got the TAC feedback connected, the tachometer feedback.
The tachometer feedback, once you establish, as I understand it, once you establish the rotational speed with a pulse width modulator, if the treadmill motor bogs down, this board will increase power to maintain a tachometer at constant speed, but it's not necessary for it to operate.
Hey guys, I'm losing power, so I might have to just check back with you guys later.
Oh, okay,
Good luck on this.
drive,
I've got your model number as 2100 LTS,
yeah.
and I might look into it some more. But at this point, I don't know anything more than you do. Do you have like an 8-pin connector?
Yeah, that's what we're playing with.
Okay. From what I saw in the previous manual, they're saying that it's compatible with a whole bunch of other controllers, and only the first 4 pins are actually used.
From the top or bottom?
I don't know. I got rid of that manual because I didn't need it.
This guy's got something.
You were telling me it was the wrong one.
Yeah, it's all right, Ray. We'll try to figure it out. Drive
All
safe.
right.
Have
I'll
a
talk to you later.
Hey, right,
bye.
Bye.
this indicates if I'm not gonna turn it because Vincente is looking at it, but I believe that is a ground.
See, I think that pin is labeled with, you know, letters and numbers. I think those letters and numbers mean something.
Yeah.
We just don't know what they mean.
And we know more about this board than the one that's down in the back.
Yeah.
He's got 3 of them.
Which video are you looking at?
This is where,
We got about 10 minutes, guys. I'm just saying.
what really be.
The name of the website in person that's doing that is what I was asking. The top and bottom pins are ground, and these fourth, according to this photo, we have it in the correct pin, fourth from the top.
From the top.
There's one that's called, the Cardaze, Cardaze. He has information about automobiles, classic cars, and also, about a zillion different motor control boards. And that's who I had pulled up here, but, I don't know how I don't scroll the internet on the telephone. So.
Still don't see it. It looks like the board is that, and that says CB1 and CB1. I don't see it. Oh. Up near the power connector is CB1 and CB1A. That's a circuit breaker connector. No, that's a, that's for the, that's for the 100, you've got. It's called a circuit breaker connector according to this diagram that I found.
Well, here it has a shunt, not a shunt, but a magnetic toroid with a coil on it in that position.
Well, it's for power.
Yeah.
And then there,
That's what it is.
and then down closer to the capacitor, it looks like there's AC hot and AC neutral.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Spikes. There's induction motors, and motors in another place.
H2 we don't care about the incline motor. The LED. Okay, the LED, if it's solid, the controller is getting AC power but not receiving a speed signal.
That's it.
If it's blinking, the controller is receiving a PWM signal and is sending voltage. Well, it's solid. If he plugs that in, it would be solid. If it's blinking on or off once per second, the controller is operating near its current limit. If it's blinking very slowly, the controller has entered its fold back mode. I will copy this document and send it to you because this document seems like it's may have. I don't know, I just
Google.
I just Googled. When I get home, I will get this off of my phone and actually send it to you. Because of course it puts it, oh, there's a huge wiring diagram. That may be the same one that you found though, so. It seems like it's got quite a bit of information about this thing.
First half of the timer circuit sets the frequency. You can tell you have success when the MC2100 controller board begins to flash. If the board pattern is 3 blinks followed by a pause and another set of 3 blinks, then the drive motor current has exceeded 34 amperes. Turn the treadmill off and back on if the problem persists. It looks like the PWM signal from the control board is just a DC signal for the microcontroller. And then the microcontroller will use the real switching of the load in the model. Which would make sense because this is certainly not rated for all the amperes or 3.6. No, I mean, about the signal.
We got 4 minutes.
Instead of the signal go to the driver. Yes. To the model. Yes. The signal becomes a DC level from the microcontroller.
Yes.
The microcontroller construct the PWM. Yes. Depending on the feedback and other feedback variables.
I will send you this document because it looks to me like he goes into a little bit more about the speed controller.
Because I've gotten something different here than I've looked at. I've been looking at these damn things for weeks and every one of them is different. No, he's generated his own. He's made his own controller.
Yeah, but he talks about other controllers in here too. Where you don't have to necessarily make your own. You can make them. But that's the same diagram.
Yes,
you've got.
that's the diagram I've got.
So there's a lot of info here. Just
A lot of people like those controllers. It's like,
Except for the guy that hates it and us.
oh, it's
I'm getting,
like
I'm going to shut down because
on the one side.
we got 3 minutes.
Well, I appreciate your input today.
I'll send you that document. I don't know if
Okay, is that one is the one I have.
that's the one you got. Okay.
That's the one I have.
Well, then I will send it to you.
Well, you can send it to me, but I.
It looked to me like he goes